All right, folks, John Henning here with the Franchise Radio Show, and on today's episode, we're joined by Shauna McCoy, the CEO and founder of Donut Distillery. Shauna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, very welcome. So what I'd like to do, Shauna, before we get into the business stuff, is I want to talk a little bit about you. Can you share with us just a little bit about yourself personally? Where do you live? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, let's see. I live right outside Nashville, Tennessee, and we've lived here for about 10 years. Originally, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I have 3 kids. 2 of them are more grown, a 23-year-old, almost 21, and then I got a 14-year-old bringing up the rear there.
Good deal, good deal. Well, I noticed that you didn't quite have as much of the native Tennessee accent. Do they consider you native yet, or are you still from New Mexico?
I think I'm native. We have so many people moving into our great state right now that we call people who are actually from here unicorns, because there's very few actual people from here. So yeah, I've been here long enough that I feel like I'm a native now.
That's funny. All right. Well, I want to jump right into the business stuff. Can you start a little bit and tell us a little bit about, how you got into franchising and lead us kind of into, which I would assume leads into the history of the company a little bit there for us?
Sure. Well, we started out as a food truck. I was in the corporate world and not super happy with it, as I think happens to people, and was very anxious to do something on my own. Didn't know that I could swing a whole big investment, and took the opportunity to start a food truck. It was a lot of fun, lots of work, physical work. People underestimate how hard the food truck business is. It's very hard. So, but we did well, but we're traveling all over, and people were constantly asking, where can we get this? Where can we get this? So we finally took a big leap, and honestly, we kind of toyed with it for a while. We had the food truck for a little over 2 years, but for over a good year, we kind of bantered. My husband and I bantered back and forth of, do we want to do this? And he's like, no, our whole life savings we're going to put into something we don't know. And literally one day, I finally decided I need to figure out how to get him to be all in, because he was just kind of half in. And I didn't think we could run a business with a half in. So I said, what if we sold beer?
Okay.
And he said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So it was really just knowing your audience. And that was, at the time, that was my only main audience. I have come to find that he's not the only one that likes beer.
No.
So, and donuts. So it really worked out very well. And so we did take the leap and started our shop almost actually 3 years ago. We opened in, it's a very cool area of Nashville. It's called East Nashville. It's just right on the other side of the river, on the east side, ironically. And it's kind of an eclectic little kind of hipster kind of area. It's got some nice bars and restaurants and little shops, and it's just a little bit more historic area, and people walk. And so we found a location there, and that's how it started. We were in business for not quite a year when we had a tornado, E5 tornado hit right where we are. It somehow bounced over our building, and our neighbors all over us, some devastating, destroyed businesses, gone. It's crazy. And then a week later, everything shut down because of COVID. So it was an interesting time. We had been in business not even a year, but we were doing well. And so we thought, we're going to figure this out. We were fortunate enough during COVID that we kind of had to dig deep and reinvent a few things, and came out the other side of it. But before that, we had gotten approached, like people saying, oh, you should open one of these in Iowa, we should open one of these in Indiana or Florida. People come in all the time saying that. This is great. And, so we kind of thought about it. Well, then COVID hit, and we're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, then right as we're coming off the backside of that, I thought, you know what, we still are hearing this, and we've made it through what we hope is the worst part of it, and I think
we hope so.
Yeah, we should be able to get this done now, and so that's how the franchise came. Because we want to share what we do. It's so much fun, and it's different. It's a different place. I had somebody ask me the other day, do you walk in feel like you're in a donut shop, or do you walk in feel like you're in a bar? It's like, well, neither.
That's actually my very next question, Shauna, is about the uniqueness of your business. Tell us about the model itself. What makes it unique? What separates you apart from all the other shops in a row?
Well, first of all, we have mini donuts. So they're mini cake donuts. We make them fresh all day long as needed. So they should be hot, fresh. You're not going to get donuts that were made at 6 a.m. and eat them, at 4 p.m. and they've been sitting in a case all day. So we keep them hot and fresh, and we top them in all kinds of fun ways. So when you come in, we have some signature flavors, but you could also, if you wanted to, just create your own. We put things like Fruity Pebbles, Reese's, Tang on donuts, and we make them to order. So, and the mini size is nice because, you can get lots of different flavors. You don't have to just eat one giant, huge, heavy thing. So that's the first thing that we do. We are a donut shop, but a different kind of donut shop in that way. We have wonderful coffee. We use a roaster right here in Tennessee. We have great coffee. And then on the over 21 side of the menu, we have fun things. One of our most popular things is we do flights. We do flights of mimosas. So we have Prosecco on tap, and we do flights of with different types of juices, and we pair them all with donuts. We do flights of beers. We've come up with some great coffee cocktails that we also pair with donuts. So those are some of our popular things. And then we have spike shakes. We have shots that coincide with all of our different donuts. So we have a Reese's shot and a Fruity Pebbles shot. And so that's that side of the menu. So we have something for everyone. It kind of goes all over.
It sounds like it's a lot of fun. I can hear it in your voice. You're going through all these things that are unique, and you just listed off like 5 different things. You know what I mean? Like
it is fun. Yes.
Yeah.
We have a little tiny stage, and we play music during the day. Sometimes on Saturdays and Saturday nights we'll have live music. We are in Nashville, so we have ample people to play some that are great musicians. So we try to take advantage of that. And then even without that, we like to pump up the music and play fun stuff that people can sit in their chair and kind of move to and have a good time. And that's kind of our goal is more, our donuts are wonderful, our drinks are wonderful, but really we hope that people walk in and just have a good experience, have a good day, have fun.
That's great. Now, let's talk about your franchise owners. Like, who would you say is a target ideal franchise owner for you guys? Is it somebody that, wants to crunch the numbers all the time and look at the spreadsheets? Is it somebody who wants to maybe enjoy what they do? Somebody is looking for something unique, a combination of the above? Who are you looking for?
A little bit of both, honestly. We kind of do, somebody needs to be able to do both those things. I definitely like to crunch the numbers. I could sit in front of spreadsheets all day. Not that I want to, but I could. I don't, but it's just fun to be there. So somebody who's going to definitely enjoy being there, that's going to be a good community person that likes to get out in the community. And, people come in, and even though because we're in Nashville, we do have a lot of tourists, but people do come in because they like us. We have good service, we smile, and, we just want to make sure that when people come in that they have a good experience. So it does need to be somebody who can obviously run a business and, make sure that expenses are where they're supposed to be and, you're doing the right things, but also that you're going to be able to let loose and be like, hey, have a good day. This is fun. Making donuts is, it can get kind of stressful because there's a line of people out the door. And I got employees who will get a little bit stressed and, constantly telling them, it's just donuts. We're giving them donuts. It's not brain surgery. People's lives are on the line here. We're giving them donuts. We're making them as fast as we can. And for the most part, people understand that. They're waiting. They're waiting for what we're giving them, and they know that we're making them. We don't have them back there already made that we can just hand them. So, it's part of the experience is that
Sure.
You want something fresh, we're going to make it for you. And it does take a minute. But yeah, so for the ideal person, definitely something with a little bit of business savvy, but also somebody with some common sense that don't have to have restaurant experience. Restaurant experience is good, but it might not always be, because it is a whole different concept. So it's not a hard thing to learn.
Good deal. Let's talk about the day in the life of a franchise owner. What would a franchise owner do every day? You mentioned some community interaction, handling some of the back end. Like, what's a day in the life of just a typical day? I know it varies, as a business owner. You can be doing a million different things. What's a normal-ish day look like?
Normal-ish? Well, I tend to take the first part of the week to try to knock out some of the business things, payroll and all those kind of things, checking to see how we did over the weekend. Weekends are definitely our busiest time, so I'll take those times and let our the people that our staff can usually handle during the week is not nearly as busy. So we'll take the beginning of the week to make sure we have inventory ordered and we have all those kind of things that we need to get ready for. And then on the weekends on Saturdays and Sundays are definitely our busiest days. So usually trying to be there most of those days, getting up. We don't open super early, and we're in the mix of trying to change our hours. We open from 8 to 3 every day. But Saturdays, we now open till 10 on Saturdays. We're kind of just doing it one day at a time as we can find staff, which is not exactly easy, but we're getting there. So when COVID hit, we crunched our hours down so that we have one shift. We didn't want to have a lot of employees. We didn't want to have a lot of people there. So it was one shift, and now we're trying to expand our hours back. So we don't have to get there super early, but it takes about an hour to get everything ready. So I get there around 8 usually on a Saturday. We close at 3. That would mean leaving around 4. And it's just busy, just trying to make sure that, we got all of our people taken care of and we're making donuts. We're just making donuts all day long.
That is great. That's great. I love the idea of having that type of schedule. I know you were kind of forced into it, and then testing back into, where does it make sense? Back in the quote old days in 2019, it seemed like every restaurant was open from the crack of daylight until really late in the evening. And I knew that, through COVID, there would be some crunching of that schedule, and it seems like you guys handled it pretty well.
Yeah, we did. We do. So in the mix of all this, we also opened in a food hall that is on Broadway, right in Nashville. They approached us before the pandemic, but it was such a large construction project. They finished right at a year ago. And that's when we opened there. And we are open in the evenings there. So if people really want some donuts, they can get them till at least 9 o'clock over there.
Oh, good deal, good deal. Well, let's talk about some a top misconception. When folks first start talking with you, Shauna, what is it that they come to you thinking that they know about the business already that you kind of have to dispel the myth, or something that they think they know about the industry? What is it that, just like 9 out of 10 times when I talk with folks, this is what they think about what we do? I don't really have too many crazy questions. I think our food cost, I think, is something that's very surprising to people. It's very low. And that is probably one of the best things about what we do, is that our food cost is low. We don't have a lot of perishable items. Milk, we go through milk rather quickly, but, there's no ordering steaks and chicken and things like that. At the end of the day, if you don't sell, you have to throw in the trash. So we don't have a lot of that kind of a waste.
and so it's a lot easier to control the expenses from that side of it.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I would think that would be a big question that folks would have, especially not coming from the food industry, even where folks are concerned about, what are my big expenses going to be? How much food
Right.
am I sitting around that might expire? That kind of thing. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Now, why should somebody get into the industry? I mean, there's a lot of different food businesses out there today. You have a very unique business model, so I want to kind of throw one out there for you. Like, why should somebody think about getting into this part of the industry in the food service?
Well, first of all, because our food cost is low, that's one really good reason.
Sure.
Also, what we do is very unique, and it's fun, and nobody else does it. So you're not going to be competing with somebody down the street because really right now nobody else does what we do. We have a lot of donut shops right near us, by the way. There are 2 donut shops within a mile. And we all do fine. We all do great. It's a different experience when you go to the two other shops. They're very good, but it's different. And so we're all able to still be successful at what we do. So that's not a big issue. But really, it's what we do is fun, and what we're providing people is a different experience. And again, nobody else does it.
I'm picking up on that because you've mentioned it a couple of times during our chat here about what's really bringing the folks in, and I think that it's one of those things is that experience. I mean, anybody can go to almost any store out there today and get a prepackaged donut in a cellophane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
A piece of cake in a circle that they're calling a donut, right? And it's been sitting there for 2 days sometimes. Whereas here, they're coming in for the experience. Now, picture in our minds here for us, Shauna, when somebody walks in, are they seeing the donuts made? Are they made in the back? How does the production work?
Our so at our shop in East Nashville, our donuts are made in the back. However, for franchises, they're going to be made right where people can see them. And at the food hall, you can see them. We have a little, what they call a donut robot, so you can watch them. In all the franchises, I'm trying to make sure that it's more of the open kitchen concept. People really enjoy that. They want to see them made. You can kind of see them from the side. The way our building, we have a strange little building, and we have a drive-through, which is wonderful, but not something, that somebody has to have. It served us well for COVID, for sure. But because of that, the way we set it up, the open kitchen was not an option. But it is going forward in the franchises that we're opening. They are going to have that, so people can come in and watch the donuts come off the machine, which is fascinating. They can see them being decorated right in front of them, so it's a lot more fun that way. Yeah.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah, that's part of that experience for the franchise owners, right? So, what are some hot areas in the country right now you would want to hear from people from? Like, what cities or states are you saying, man, this would just go crazy in this market?
Goodness. It's funny. We are opening a shop real soon in a little town called Portsmouth, Ohio. It's a small, quaint little blue-collar town, and you would think that wouldn't be our target market. But we have put on Facebook just a couple of teasers, like we're opening soon, and they have shared it like 800 times.
Wow.
So I think the point is that it doesn't really matter where you live. People want to go someplace cool. It doesn't matter that it's a small little town or a big city. Just because you're not in a big city doesn't mean you don't want to go someplace fun or do something different. So they have a nice little university right there with them, so I think that's going to help. So, but as far as, states, I think some hot states would definitely be places like Texas and Florida. Talking to people in California right now, a little bit unsure about the liquor laws there and if they can get beer and wine. And that's also probably a misconception that we have a full liquor license here, but it's not necessary. If a state does like a beer and wine and then the liquor, that would be fine. You would be fine with just beer and wine. We can make that happen.
Sure. I know what you mean. Yeah, because different states have different licenses available for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, how long does it take to get open? Like somebody comes through your process, they learn about your business, you like them, they like you, they decide to join the system, they get approved, they sign the franchise agreement, they make the franchise fee payment. From that point, that's day one of me opening my business. How long roughly does it take to open one of these things up?
It really depends on a few things. First of all, your contractor, your building, what the build out needs to look like. If you're walking into, a restaurant that was already there and just, needs just a few little updates, and you have a contractor that's pretty quick, we can turn this around, a couple months easy. I would say 60 days, that wouldn't be too hard. Getting things ordered and stuff like that, we have to kind of work around just a little bit, but it really depends on how fast you can do it. We can turn everything in around. I would say average would probably be about 90 days, though.
Yeah, it makes sense. It seems fairly easy to open up as far as, like, if you have everything that you need that you guys are bringing to the table, that way you're helping them, not make the mistakes and getting it right the first time, that kind of thing, right? If, somebody's going to try it on their own, it's going to be completely different, right? So that's the whole idea of franchise. Yeah.
Yes. Take advantage of the 5 years of mistakes that we made.
Right, exactly. You mentioned a couple of different things you would do differently now, and that's the beauty of a franchise is that they're paying for that. I always say starting out on third base, and they just have to hit a solid single to run in, right?
Yes.
Now let's talk about the cost and the numbers here a little bit. What would you say? And I know how the franchise disclosure documents work. What would you say your estimate is on total cost of entry? What's the franchise fee? That kind of thing.
The franchise fee is $29.9. I would say, again, it completely depends on a few different factors. Obviously, first of all, the building. That's one of our biggest expenses is our rent. But again, I mentioned the place that's opening in Ohio. Their rent is not like ours. So, there's, a difference there. So it depends on where you're at and how much your rent is, or your rent is going to be, and how much your build out is going to be. But so you're looking at about $150 to $300 probably.
Okay, good. And that includes the franchise cost. You guys are going to help them with everything they need to get started, all the equipment, all that stuff. And then real quick, just to follow up on that, because I didn't ask, what kind of footprint are you looking for? Is this, a couple hundred square feet, couple thousand square feet? What kind of footprint are you guys looking for?
I would say you probably would want to get at least 1,800 square feet. And we'll work with every franchise. If they come and they're like, look, I got this great building, but, this is the situation, we can try to figure out how we're flexible. We're not like, no, that's no way. We're definitely flexible and trying to help make sure that, our main goal is to make sure that they're successful. And so we want to make sure that, all of our franchises are very successful. So we'll do anything we have to do to make sure that happens. So if somebody has a building, we can help them with but you do want to make sure you do have enough seats in there because people do come in and sit down. And right now we have about 50 seats in our location. And last year we took away part of the drive-through. So we still have a drive-through, but they don't actually drive through a path like they used to. They just kind of drive around the building in a different direction. And we took that whole space up and put picnic tables because we need seats. And we have picnic tables all over there. And yesterday they were full. All 6 picnic tables were full. So, you want to have enough seats for people. In the state of Tennessee, weirdly, you have to have 41 seats to get a liquor license. Don't ask me why 41. Why not 40? I don't know.
Arbitrary number to me.
But, somebody made a law somewhere. So those are just some things to consider. But I would say, 1,800 square feet, you'd be good. And if you got a little bit bigger, that'd be fine too. So. Okay,
good deal. Well, I want to give you the last word here, Shauna. Give us a recap. Just run us through, 1 or 2 minutes of this is Donut Distillery. This is, why you should think about reaching out to us and, kind of how should folks reach out to you. We'll make sure to include all your contact information in the link as well.
Oh, okay. Great. people can reach me email or phone call, whatever's easier. Happy to have any kind of conversation at any time. And why they should do it, because it's if you're looking to do something on your own, it's very satisfying. Like again, I said, our costs are low. I think as people realize what they can do, there's a lot of opportunity out there. We are very unique. You're not going to find something like what we do down the street, and so it makes it fun and exciting to do that. I can't remember what your other questions were.
That was it. I just want to make sure that you included your website on there, or your email address or phone number,
Okay.
any contact info
Yeah.
that you want to share with the listeners.
Oh, yes, definitely. Our website is actually just www.donutdistillery.com. And I highly encourage you to take a look at our website, but also go to Instagram. We have a great Instagram as far as, to see pictures. That is one thing. I did tell you I have 3 kids, and my littlest one, who's now 14, but, when he is working, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. One of his things has always been, before you take a donut and give it to somebody, look at it and make sure it's Instagrammable.
Instagrammable, yes.
He coined that term because everybody that grabs our donuts, it's amazing when they take their food, the first thing they do is take a picture of it.
Sure.
Because they're very cute. And so I do recommend that you take a look at our Instagram and look at the pictures, and you get a little bit of an idea of, just the vibe of the whole shop and what we're doing.
And Shauna, is your Instagram at Donut Distillery? Is that the one
Yes.
you have? Okay, Good deal. We'll make sure to include that, the website, your office phone number and everything right on the link for everybody. We appreciate your time for sure.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And folks, we were just joined by Shauna McCoy, the CEO and founder of Donut Distillery. We'll make sure to include all the contact information right underneath this video, and make sure when you call Shauna, mention that you heard about her on the Franchise Radio Show. Thanks, Shauna.
Thank you.